two.
Hello and welcome to the Clarinet Ninja Podcast. My name is Jay Hassler, and as always, I'm doing my best to bring you the best in clarinet information and entertainment. Today, I'm talking to two very, very special people. One of them is Cathy Wood. She is the president of the International Clarinet Association, and Jessica Harrie, who is the executive director of the International Clarinet Association. These two people do a lot for the clarinet world. They are, I would consider, very important people, and I am very grateful that they took some time to talk to me about ClarinetFest 2025 in Fort Worth, Texas, July 9th through the 13th. It's going to be a great event. Before I talk about that and introduce that wonderful event, be sure to check out the Clarinet Ninja Dojo. Great clarinet instruction. A wonderful clarinet community. It's there for you. The information's in the description, in the show notes. Click it, check it out. Come study clarinet with me. Thank you, James Dandifer, for playing us in. And if you like what you hear, please don't hesitate to go down to the description or the show notes and click on the link for James Dandifer. Hear the rest of his music, because it's pretty darn good too. Here's what we're talking about. ClarinetFest, some great memories, some great anticipation for the next year, and we talk a little bit about the year after that, because the planning's going for that right now too. One of the things that I want you to know that's fantastic about ClarinetFest is this opportunity for adult clarinet players, adult amateur or enthusiast clarinet players. The Clarinet Enthusiast Committee, which I'm a part of, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I'm also the co-chair this year, and probably next year. But the point is, my friend Josh Gu, the co-chair, and the people on the committee, and with the support of the president, Cathy Wood, and the executive director, Jessica Harrie, we are putting on an event. It's a brand new event, and it's an exciting one. We're going to talk about, for a day and a half. So the Clarinet Convention starts on Wednesday. Tuesday and Wednesday morning, we are going to rehearse music together. We're going to learn how to play as an ensemble. We are going to learn about reeds. We're going to learn about practice techniques. We're going to learn about how to pick equipment. What are you looking for? Why are you looking for that? And how do you find it here at the Clarinet Convention when there is every bit of equipment that you could possibly ever want? We're going to take care of all that. You're going to have a chance to meet some of the vendors. We're going to talk about playing in tune. We're going to talk about all of this so that you can take these skills that you've already been working on, cultivate them in this very special environment, and then water those seeds all week, listening to clarinet players, listening to people talk about clarinet, watching master classes, and playing in the clarinet choir, and then go back where you came from and share that newfound skill, that energized love for the clarinet with the community that is surrounding you already. What could be better than that? Let me tell you, nothing. Please check it out. Cathy Wood, Jessica Harrie, talking about ClarinetFest. My real want is to get people all over the world to really care about the clarinet, which is, I think, aligned with what the ICA is doing. So it's really wonderful to have the both of you here. I want to know some stuff. Cathy, what was the first clarinet convention that you went to?
My first one, well, I'm going to age myself here, but was in 2000. And my teacher, my undergrad teacher, took me along with a friend of his down to Oklahoma where it was being hosted. This is from Canada, so it was a long road trip. And my first time at anything, like this. And just, I was blown away. I was going to concerts from 8:30 in the morning until 11:30 at night, just going to everything. And vendor rooms. I mean, being from even a good-sized city in Canada, we don't have access to a lot of the sheet music and products, and so it just it was absolutely incredible. Yeah. So my first one was Oklahoma in 2000, and then I went on to study with Dave Etheridge, who hosted that. So also got to meet some great teachers. Yeah.
I can't imagine driving down from Canada.
I did it a couple times, yeah.
Because I don't know if you know this, I grew up on the other side of Canada in Alaska.
Oh, wow. Okay, well.
And just a Alaskan tidbit, the road from the continental United States to Alaska was not paved until 1977.
So I grew up in northern Manitoba before we moved to Winnipeg, and same thing. Yeah, I was up north in Gillam, Manitoba. Yeah.
But people used to drive up from Washington up into the middle of Alaska, the state of Alaska, which is huge, and then back down. And the road wasn't paved through a lot of it, and so there'd all be all sorts of T-shirts of what was that highway called? I can't remember what the highway was called, but it'll come to me in the middle of tonight. I'm sure I'll jump out of bed with the name of it. Jessica, what was the first clarinet convention you went to?
Oh, 2006 in Atlanta.
Nice.
That was my senior year of undergrad, and I was getting really, really excited about the clarinet. And I'd been a member for a couple of years, but I couldn't afford to go. And of course, being an undergrad student on a strapped budget, I loaded half of the studio into my car. We took two cars and rented. We couldn't stay at the conference hotel because it was too steep, so we got a single room at the Days Inn down the street and brought an air mattress, but didn't tell the staff, of course, at the hotel that we were doing that. Don't do this, by the way.
We definitely had 6 people in a room.
Yeah, there were 8 of us. I think I slept in the bathtub one night, we just made it work. And it was such a incredible feeling to finally be able to see that. And I mean, that conference was huge, and it was such a big eye-opening experience to get on the elevator and just have famous people who I had listened to recordings just standing next to me, and I'm just having like the starstruck moment and seeing and hearing. And I played in the college choir, the collegiate choir, which was so cool. And I met Matt Johnston in that, and who was a great friend of mine. And he was standing next to me, and he had an alto clarinet in his hand, and I was like, tell me about yourself. It's interesting that you've chosen this as an instrument to play at this moment. And he said, yeah, I do arranging, and, introduced me to some of the stuff that he had done. And found out that he was a bassoonist hiding in the clarinet world, which is fine. We don't mind that, Matt. It's okay. We still claim you. But yeah, after that, I went to a whole bunch of them. But it's just, if you've never been, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Right.
And Jay will talk about that a little bit with the purpose of our enthusiast event, and sort of easing you into this process. And this year, if this is your first conference, whoa, whoa.
But a good whoa.
It's a good whoa, but it's going to be so big, so big.
I just made a video about the conference a couple days ago, and one of the things I was talking about was how angry I am at my former self for not going so many years that I should have gone. Because this is going to sound really kind of dumb. I had no idea how incredible it was. I thought like, oh, just a bunch of geeks talking about reeds, and it is, but it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that, and I love it. Like it honestly, it changed my life. There's so many wonderful people that just happen to play the clarinet that come to the convention, and some of those people are famous. Some of those people make stuff for the clarinet. Some of the people work for companies that make stuff for the clarinet. But I've just found it to be a place where it's the nicest place to be, because everyone has something that's in common, and there's no competition. I mean, I guess there is a literal competition, but
A few of them, yeah.
but I was telling somebody, like, usually when you're in a room full of people with, everyone has their clarinet out, it's an audition and it feels terrible. But this is the opposite of that. It's been amazing for me. So this will be my third in total and my third in a row, and I'm really excited about it. The number of things you can see, that's the part of it that I kind of didn't get, is that for the entire day and night you can basically see or hear somebody playing or talking about something that's genuinely interesting.
Yeah.
So
and also you leave there feeling so overwhelmingly inspired. Every time I go, I see my colleagues and people that I haven't seen in a while, and I see them just completely blow me away with what they're doing. And I just walk home. No, I don't walk home, usually. Drive home or fly home, wherever it is. And I just immediately want to get to work and improve myself. So, if you're looking for inspiration, it is the best place to be inspired, for sure.
Yeah, and I think inspiring in so many different ways. Like as a teacher, you get new ideas for pedagogy. As a performer, new repertoire, and just hearing your clarinet heroes and your friends who are just doing amazing things. Yeah,
I want to more clearly define who it is that I'm talking to here, right? Because I'll do an introduction about it, but but Cathy, like, you're the president of. You're the president of the clarinets. So, so what does that mean in terms of your involvement in the clarinet convention? I mean, I know that you must be somewhat active in the general idea of the clarinet convention, but they have people that are actually organizing it, right?
Right. So of course we have the artistic leadership team and Mary who's organizing, and then of course Jessica who's she's the brains of it all. But yeah, so the board and myself were fairly involved in just the logistics and financial side of things and making sure everything runs smoothly. Yeah.
Right. Well, and so Jessica, well, I can't remember your exact title, but let me describe the role that you play. Because there's not always somebody, but in a good organization, there's somebody who knows everything, and that over the course of time, you get so used to them having good answers, being kind, answering promptly, and just being, generally speaking, the person that you trust. That I mean, it's hard for me not to ask you for advice on every aspect of my life, not just the Clarinet Association, right? Because every time I send you an email, I get a response. It has the information I needed, I'll say it here, even though it doesn't. I probably don't need to. In our last meeting, I said, "Oh, Jessica, I don't know if you sent me that list of people," and yeah, you had. I just didn't look closely enough, right? Because I know in those situations, I know it's me because it's not Jessica. But so anyway, so like I know that that's the role you play for me personally, is that of all-knowing person who responds kindly and immediately. Describe your role a little bit. It's super important, but I couldn't describe it for myself.
So officially, I am the executive director. And just so you know, anybody that thinks they can ask me for life advice, I do have a T-shirt that says "Not that kind of doctor." So keep that in mind. I wear it on occasion just to make sure people know that there is a limit to my expertise and things. But yeah, so realistically, when we are looking for a place to hold Clarinet Fest, we have a really inspired person who's looking and says, "Hey, I really want to put on a show here." And we go out. So it's the responsibility of the board and myself to go to the place, make sure it's viable as far as facilities are concerned, financially, make sure there's going to be some support there. And there's, most importantly, a desire for people to go to that region. In the case of 2021's conference, which is now 2025, so it's been a long time to get to Fort Worth. This is a rollover from COVID, but I had just started in 2020, so a lot of the stuff that was already rolling around for Fort Worth, I wasn't directly involved in, but we had to renegotiate our contracts, and so I learned a lot about those things in that process. But so we went and had our site visit, checked out the hotel, made sure that the convention center and the hotel were close enough, and they're directly across the street, which is super convenient when you don't want to be out in the Texas heat during the middle of the summer. But, it's close to the airport, all of those things. And then, of course, negotiating contracts with our performing musicians. So that's going to be our orchestra, our string quartet, pianists, and things like that. And then just being there for the artistic team and Mary as they sort of try to figure out how to plan this conference. And if you've not looked at, excuse me, the website, we have the artistic handbook if you're interested in hosting. And it's very thick and has so many details. So just making sure that they know what their responsibilities are, and then helping as much as I can when they run into a wall. And there are a lot of walls when planning these kinds of things.
Well,
Sometimes they're also not soundproof, which is a big issue.
well, when there's also so many moving parts, right? And like in Ireland, there was supposed to be somebody from my childhood, like we played clarinet growing up in Alaska, that was going to play, and then she wasn't able to come. Like something happened, and I would imagine that's like just one that I'm aware of. That must happen all the time, where there's all sorts of curveballs every day, happening. The thing that I always for the past 2 years enjoyed, and I wish I'd enjoyed more of it, was actually having my heroes be humanized, being able to just walk around and say hi to. I'm not even sure that they would agree, but I'm like, hey, you're famous. Some of the famous people I already know, and that's fun to be able to see everybody, and to be able to see everybody all at once. You can have breakfast with one friend, lunch with another friend, dinner with another friend, and make friends along the way. And that's something that's really, really, I don't know, it's unusual. I don't have any other weeks in my life that are like that, right? Where I get to see new people, experience new things, and if I want to try a different reed or a different mouthpiece, I can try any of them. Because even living in New York, I don't get that set of options, right? To try that many things. And it's, even for me, overwhelming. And that's actually, let me pivot off of that into one of the things that we're doing in the enthusiast pre-convention event, is we're helping people, learn how to play the clarinet, but also learn how to make the most of that week, because it's kind of a precious week. And what I've always found is that, Wednesday I'm going, Thursday I'm going, Friday morning I'm going, and then Friday afternoon about 1 o'clock I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, I think I should leave because I've had enough. And then I usually take a nap, and then I'm okay. Last year in Ireland, the time change really got to me. Like, and I would be at the evening concert trying as hard as I could to stay awake because I was just so wiped out from the time change. And I like when we do it in Seoul, which I think is next year, right? I'm
Yeah.
looking. I'm gonna probably go a day or two early to get myself set up so that I'm not narcoleptic during the.
Oh, and we're going to have tours and things organized for members in Korea. So if you do come a couple days early or stay a couple days after, there'll be plenty of things that you could sign up to take part in, just so you can dip your toes into the cultural shock, because it is a bit different there, obviously. But there's just so many cool things to see, and we wanted people to feel comfortable enough to experience those things. And yeah, obviously Fort Worth is a little bit more U.S. based, so you're just gonna get on a little train and go to the stockyards and get yourself a big steak and maybe wear a cowboy hat for 5 minutes. I don't know.
Um, yeah, because in Ireland, one of my really good friends played, and and she showed up for a few events, and then so what do you do? She's like, oh, I went here, I went there. She went all over the place and had a great vacation along with going to the convention, which I didn't even consider. I'm like, I've got to go to these performances and these talks. Like this is what I have to do. And then I don't know. I talked myself out of staying late. That seemed very sort of like fancy, and I don't consider myself fancy, so I didn't even entertain that idea. But I'm looking forward to Fort Worth. I mean, I was thinking about getting an Airbnb, but it was that same thing. Like, I don't want to be walking. I don't want to walk over there in the heat and show up all sweaty. I want to stay in the hotel, have it,
See the
have it be.
people, meet. Yeah.
Because I want to tell the story. A couple of years ago, my child was going on vacation with her mom, and it happened to be during exactly the time of the clarinet convention. And then so I was like, I don't think I have enough money to go. I didn't save for this. I don't think I can do this. So I called, obviously I wanted to go. I called John Cipolla and I said, John, I need you to talk me out of going to the clarinet convention because I can't afford it. And he said, well, I've got a room already booked that there's two beds in it. You can just stay there. I'm like, John, that's the opposite of what I was asking. Like, I wasn't asking you to make this easier for me. And then I went to Denver, and that I mean, I swear, like I had the time of my life. I couldn't believe how much fun I was having. I thought, man, I really thought this was just a bunch of people talking about reeds, and it's actually not. The thing that I enjoyed the most was people doing like lecture presentations where they were playing and talking. And I can't remember his name. I would like to because it was my favorite thing that I saw at one of the conventions was this guy. He had all sorts of different clarinets made out of different woods, and he was talking about what the clarinets were made out of at a certain time and how that impacted, how Mozart wrote for the clarinet. I'm like, you can't get that. I mean, yeah, I guess you could get that information from the internet, but it's so much better to have that expert who would have written the paper on the internet actually playing the clarinet in front of you incredibly well and talking about it and just and showing it and making it very, very clear. Like that's like next level sort of clarinet nerd stuff that like really elevates us above people talking about reeds.
We're all
And
nerds.
right. I mean, like how often do you get to be that close to experts on that level? I mean, and so many of them. And then that's something that is special. And playing in the clarinet choirs, I've never played in a clarinet choir before, and I would have told you that I would have hated it, but I don't. I love it.
Good, nothing's better than a good clarinet choir. Sounds like the biggest, fullest organ you've ever heard. It's just such a
Yeah.
glorious sound, and you get to sit next to people from all over the world who are probably better than you, and that's okay.
In Denver, I went and sat in the enthusiast choir and played. I went to all the enthusiast events, and that part of it is what's got me so inspired, and I feel so fortunate to be a part of the enthusiast committee, is that being around people who just love playing the clarinet, period. That's it.
Hmm.
That is my favorite thing in the entire world because sometimes, as somebody who plays for money, I forget how much I love playing the clarinet because sometimes I'm playing it at times when I maybe don't want to. And so to be around people who that doesn't happen for them, they think they want to play, it feels like I really get back to the idea of why I'm doing this in the first place, and how it felt to be a kid and I don't know where my clarinet lamp is. It's back there. That's my first clarinet like that I ever had. And I remember I used to sit on the couch and just look at it. I'd be like watching like Pressure Luck in the afternoon, eating my snack.
No whammies.
And I'd be looking at my clarinet and I would be thinking about, my God, I'm going to play this so well. I'm going to play this clarinet so well when I get older. I can't believe it. And I would look at how shiny the keys were. I loved it so much. And I haven't sat watching Press Your Luck eating a, you know, eating a snack, looking at my clarinet, for lots of years. And I should try that again. I should put on Peter Tomark and watch some Press Your Luck. What's happening this year? Is there anything? What's the thing happening this year at the Clarinet Convention?
The thing. Well,
There's many things.
I guess
yeah.
the big thing is the probably what I would consider to be the largest exhibition hall we've ever had. So that's really incredible to see that. We obviously have our slate of competitions and just incredible talent from all over the world competing in all of the competitions. But headlining concerts, we're going to have some really, really cool workshop type sessions where you get, there's a repair session by Miles DeCastro of North Country Winds. It's going to be a sign up thing where it's limited, but we're going to have like an audience as well. And he's going to walk people through some basic repairs, which is, we've never done that. At least not since I've been around, and that'll be a really cool hands-on thing that we're trying to see if that's practical. And Miles is driving all the way from New York with all of these tenons and corks and things to facilitate that. So I'm really excited about that. Of course, all of our committees are hosting really impactful and important sessions about different elements of the work that they're doing, and then a whole bunch of incredible master classes as well, which is super great. So those are the things that I'm looking forward to. Right. Where I'll be is at the registration desk. So I'll see you at the evening concerts. That's where I get my inspiration is finally falling asleep at the evening concert because I'm too exhausted.
More than one time last summer, somebody said, "Well, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to go bother Jessica for a few minutes because I got some things I need to."
You were keeping me awake. You didn't even know it. Saving me.
I went to more master classes in Ireland than I did in Denver, and I'm glad that I did. I forget how inspiring those are because when you're in college and you go to studio class every week, I mean, like some version of a master class is happening all the time. Watching somebody learn and have oh right, okay, and then it's just really, it's very, very exciting because so much of going to the convention is hearing the famous people, but also a lot of it for me is like reminding myself, okay, I want to hear something new from this famous. Like I want to, and that doesn't mean that they need to do something new. It means that I need to bring something new as a listener. And what better way to do that than attend a bunch of stuff during the day or to watch people learn and to hear new things myself and to bring that into my own thing. I find that to be something that is, it's just built into the whole existence of being there.
Yeah, I actually went to a master class in 2006, and it was Alessandro Carbonari, and it was standing room. They had to go get a mic because they didn't have one, and people couldn't hear because there's so many people in there. And I just remember seeing a student. He had a person that was supposed to play who couldn't make it, and he said, "Can someone else play? Just volunteer this piece." And it was Rossini, Introduction, Theme, and Variations. And some random student was like, "I'll play." And I was like, whoa, that is so brave. And I was also working on the piece at the time. And I would never have thought that was something that I could have done in front of that many people. But they did an amazing job. And it was so incredible to watch him work. And that was probably my favorite session out of that whole concert. That and seeing Elsa Verder and Walter Verder with the Verder Trio play. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's another great thing, the chance to see former teachers and former colleagues. For me, Clarinet Fest is a big reunion. It's once a year. I get to, see the people that I've missed, meet new people. Often, in grad school, you're surrounded by clarinet players. Then you get a job, and then you're the only clarinet player maybe in your in your city or your town. And so it's the chance to kind of go back to that, and it's the reunions, and yeah.
There's still people from Denver that I communicate with somewhat regularly that I didn't know them. I would have so many more friends now if I'd just gone to more conventions.
It's not too late. You got plenty more. We're planning one every year, and Low Festival is happening every 2 years.
I don't intend to miss anymore. I'm all in. Korea will be, quite fun. I was married into a Korean family for years. And so I've eaten lots of Korean food, and I've heard a lot of Korean spoken. I don't speak it. I can just say a couple kind of ridiculous things. And But they're not even the normal ridiculous things of the swear words. Like I can like say what you talking about, Willis, because that was interesting. Like,
Essentials, right?
yeah, right. Things that come up all the time.
Yeah.
I can still do it. Moose Niani Haningwa, Willis.
Willis Sir.
Willis.
But I can't. I mean, Seoul is one of those places that I feel like just represents so much of the growth of a city in the late 20th century, of how big it can get. You know how bustling it is. I'm such a New Yorker. Like I want to. I like to go to cities that I feel like I can relate to. Like and Seoul is a town like I feel like I'll be able to relate to. Like I'll get it. Like what like the energy that comes from a place like that
Just a
is.
side note, we're in Incheon, which is
Oh,
not Seoul.
it's not Seoul. Okay.
Is a little bit outside of Seoul, and it is an international district
Okay.
and it's close to the airport, so it's very convenient. Still huge
Okay.
area, and you can hop on the train and head into town. You can catch a
Easy to
bus,
get
take
to
a taxi.
Seoul.
Very easy to get into Seoul, and we're going to organize tours, hopefully to Seoul and maybe some other places that you may not think to go.
Yeah.
And I recommend going into Seoul and seeing the sheer size of it, and just the riding the train is just my favorite thing. I love a good train.
Well, me too. If I'm remembering right, my daughter's TV show Tayo is about Korean buses.
Oh,
And she doesn't watch it anymore, but like I remember watching Tayo, and I want to ride the blue bus.
I took a Korean class last spring, and we learned the 지하철 너무 좋아요. I love the train. I love the train. Was one of the practice sentences, right? So
Yeah, but my ex-wife would tell me that like she says I can tell you to read Korean. I could teach you how to read Korean very easily. You
yeah.
can
Mhm.
speak it very easily. You wouldn't know what you were saying, but I could teach you how to read it.
Yep.
And I thought that would be interesting, but probably not that practical.
Well, reading takes very little time because they made their own lettering system.
Right.
Hangul is such a simplistic and easy to read system that they developed to help increase literacy in their country. They even celebrate it with a national holiday. So
Oh, that's fantastic. Have we missed anything? If anyone, I'm going to edit this part out.
random talks about Korean national holidays and
Well, I mean, I definitely wanted to get to that. But
just clip that part of me saying I love the train so that I can hear how bad my pronunciation actually is, and I'll, guilt myself. I'm
But
printing
keep
out
the Willis.
right. Verb practice worksheets that I've been working on for Korean. So I think just talking a little bit more about the enthusiast event specifically, and you can handle that if you want, because you're more involved directly with the scheduling. So if you want to add some details to the video about that, but I'll just say I really hope that you'll consider attending this workshop. Pre-conference workshop, because it's the first one we've ever offered, and we'd love for it to be successful, and we'd love to get some feedback on how to make it more exciting, and then maybe parlay that into other types of workshops that can happen pre and post conference, for younger students or for pedagogy or things like that in the future, just to sort of expand what we can do when we are finally able to be together on an annual basis. So that's always on my mind, is how to make the conference more memorable and more enjoyable and more beneficial to you as a musician and as a clarinetist. So
one of the things that I want to see, and like I'm some expert having been to two of them, is that like have it be that there's an entry point for everybody. What I felt like when I have come back is this is for everybody. Anybody that likes the clarinet, that has a passing interest in the clarinet will love this. And your interest and your love for the clarinet will grow from doing this. And one of the things that I felt that one of the things the reason I didn't go for so many years is because I felt like that's not really for me. That's for college professors. That's not for me. And to relish in how wrong I was in that is really wonderful. I feel like I'm glad I got over myself and decided to go, because there is something there for everybody. And I feel very happy that the association has allowed the enthusiast committee to try something different and try something new to like really reach out and make this genuinely for everybody. There's a lot of stuff that. And I guess that's the thing, not everything is for everybody at the convention, but that's kind of the beautiful part of it. It is for everybody in a very specific way. There's things for everybody specifically, but there's also things generally. And that's one of the things I think is really beautiful about it, is because I don't want to go see everything, but there's some of the stuff I really, really want to see. And then there's a lot of stuff that I'm excited to see. Right. So there's different ways in which it hits for everybody. And I think it's fantastic. And I remember in the Denver conference, I have so much respect for Michelle Anderson and Debbie Andrews, who were in charge of the committee at the time, they held this master class, and there was two people that had been working together, playing duets. One lived in Australia, one lived in somewhere else that was not Australia, and they got to meet each other for the first time and play together in person at the Clarinet Convention. I was
Oh,
crying so hard right now thinking
yeah.
about it. It was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I had no idea I was going to see something like that heartwarming at the Clarinet Convention. That's when I thought like that it feels to me like the coolest thing I've seen at a Clarinet Convention was, people, the COVID was such a specific time. It was such a weird thing, and to see something grow out of that was that was so hyper specific and just really for two people, but representative of a lot of things and representative to me of what the Clarinet Convention, one of the many things that it is. And I really love that. I'm really hoping that the enthusiast workshop proves completely resonant and useful for people. Like I really want people to come back with more knowledge, more ability, and definitely having laid the groundwork to leverage all of that to make more when they get back home and be able to play in their ensembles and be in whatever community that they have there in a way that is bigger and even more alive than what they were already doing. To me, seeing the adult amateur player is like I've never seen people that work that hard, that consistently with that level of earnestness slash joy. Because it's both of them together. There's a seriousness about it, but there's also so much joy that goes into it. I feel very, very happy that my turn as co-chair of the enthusiast committee has this opportunity, out in front of me, and I'm really hoping that people take advantage of it. The cost of it is so low, and what is being offered is the value I think is incredibly high. And being able to work dynamically with somebody talking about practice techniques, reads, how to play with a metronome, all these things that you can learn the slow way through some of my fantastic YouTube videos, but it's the slow way, and nobody's responding to what it is that you're doing, right? So I mean, it's really that is a hard way to learn, and I feel like there's a lot of people who are using those resources incredibly well, but those resources are limited, and something like this really adds and fills in all of those gaps that those resources are missing, I'm very excited to be able to be a part of doing that because I think it's something that I think is a perfect additional thing to add to what's already on tap at the Clarinet Convention, which is
I mean,
yeah.
honestly, my hope is that the people who go and are able to participate in this are going to leave and start talking about it. And then everybody that didn't go is going to be like, man, I got some serious FOMO here. I didn't
Yeah.
go to the workshop, and it sounds like they had a blast and did some really cool things. And then we'll have more people who want to come the next time and the next time, and then it'll just become its own little thing. And then hopefully, we won't have to have a situation where we have to cap it, but maybe that would be the
Yeah.
ideal, right? Too many people want to do this cool thing. Oh no.
I don't want to get all mushy, but I feel very, very fortunate that like my life has led me to a place where I get to do something like this. I get to participate in it, and I have a voice in making it happen. I mean, that just feels like if I never went to Denver, if I didn't make that phone call to John Cipolla and have him do the opposite of what I asked him to, I wouldn't be doing this. Like, and it's funny to think about how things change that quickly. That one phone call set off this whole chain of events that is something that as a life as a clarinet player, as a player, as a teacher, just as somebody that loves the clarinet, I didn't see this coming. How much I love it and how much I love being a part of it, it makes it like one of those things in life where you're like, I had no idea that something was going to have that impact on me and bring so much to my life. And that's it's overwhelming. And I just want everyone to come to the Clarinet Convention and have that exact same experience in
Well,
their
that's
own
the
way.
perfect example of why people who are thinking about it but not sure why they should, make the leap, right?
Right.
You're the perfect example.
Just ask
Yeah.
any person that is, talking about it on social media, ask them if they would chat with you a little bit about what the experience feels like, especially if you're nervous, or just email us. Anybody on the board or on our committees, if you're nervous about attending and you have questions, I get a lot of those emails. You'd be surprised. I don't even know where to start. What do I do with this huge, thick schedule? How do I determine what's going to be good for me to attend? And there's no perfect answer for that, but the great part about it is, you can just meet somebody and then go to a concert with them, or go to say, or where are you going next? I won't follow you. That's what I did when I went to my first couple of conferences. I was like, I have no idea what is valuable to me in this setting. I'm just going to take a guess. So we're going to work with some of our committees, though, to just create some monikers in the program book and on the guidebook to sort of delineate what kinds of sessions are geared towards certain audiences, and that's going to be helpful to you when you're looking at that thick schedule. So it's called the Clarinet Learning Community.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so there's stuff marked pedagogy or health and wellness, or, I've only been playing for, less than a year. Is there something for me? Yeah, there's stuff for you. There's tons of different types of activities, and they're all going to be marked in that guidebook with a different classification. So you'll be able to see that pretty easily.
One of the things I just want to say it out loud, because maybe other people feel this way. Like when I was first learning about the International Clarinet Association, there was actually two associations that merged, and this was back in 1991, 1992, something like that. It never dawned on me that the people in charge of the organizations were actually like regular people and really nice. The whole thing seemed sort of walled off to me, like something that like wasn't really necessarily accessible. And I don't know why I thought this. I mean, I'm not suggesting it was a rational response to it, but I never would have dreamed of the fact that, like, there's regular nice people that love the clarinet. That's what this is, right? They're not regular nice people. They're people that know an incredible amount about the clarinet, that have worked really hard to get to the place where they are now taking the mantle of creating an event. Yeah, sure. Yeah, they're not just regular people. They are regular people who have done all that. You would never know this, I hope. I've got extreme social anxiety. So like, it was really like, I felt very inhibited to go do stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm trying to piggyback on the idea of, if you've got a question, email somebody. Because if somebody emails me with a question I don't know the answer to, I'm emailing Jessica, or like, I'll
Well, we all love the clarinet, so we have that in common, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're all there for the same reason.
And when I met John Cipolla in person the first time, I think he was president of the association. And so then I was like, oh, wait a minute. You're not any fancier than me. You're just a regular person. It's really interesting. Well, but he, but also in the New York world, I mean, he held a giant position at Radio City. So I was sort of in awe of him just in general. And then now that I know him so well, I think he would agree that I was kind of holding I was holding him to a ridiculous standard. Or like
what is the saying? We all put our pants on one leg at a time.
Yeah.
We all, you can't say the same thing about how people put their clarinet together or how they swab it, but let's not get into that.
Started, yeah.
I saw was if Bakun posted an image of a person feeding the swab in the backwards way, and they were like, let's discuss it. And all the comments were like, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Why are you trying to start a war?
Well, I did a video with Melanie Wong, who was a repairman in New York for a long time. She moved to Arizona. And because I always did it bell first. I always put it in the bell. And to me, that was the right way. She told me I was wrong. And she, to be honest, I mean, she told me I was wrong for years before we did the video together. But so I finally I'm trying to do it from the barrel. But still, like when I'm at a show and like I got to solve, my clarinet immediately goes upside down. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I don't do it that way anymore. Like how 30 years of instinct still has me turning my clarinet upside down.
So I learned the hard way at a clarinet fest. I was playing in a CC, playing D clarinet. So, not a lot of D clarinets around. And we were rehearsing right before the concert. And I go to swab quickly. The swab gets really, really, really stuck. And tried everything. Concert starting in 10 minutes. My husband runs off to the vendor room to grab a repair person. Still really stuck. Finally, the repair person comes, takes off some keys. We get it fixed up. Concert starts. I just run onto stage. Haven't even tried to make sure it works. But yeah, so I learned that the hard way.
This has been fantastic. I really appreciate the two of you joining me to have this conversation, because as much as I want to talk about the Clarinet Convention, and I did in a video just a couple days ago, I can't talk about it with the same kind of specifics that the experts can. And it is really fun sharing like the common experiences. It's like having gone to the same school. Like, well, what was it like back in 2006? Or
yeah.
Because I'm hoping 20 years from now I'll be able to tell all the stories like a veteran person who's been to a lot of clarinet conventions. So thank you for being with me. It's really, really great to have both of you here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Jay.
Yeah.
All right. Seriously, thank you to Cathy and Jessica. That was a wonderful conversation, and it is nice to share the transformative effect of Clarinet Fest with other people who've had that same experience, where Clarinet Fest has really made them transform into a new person. It's a really wonderful, wonderful thing, and you shouldn't miss it. And as always, thank you, James Standifer, for giving us music to go out with. It is nice to have music to talk over that is inspiring. So if you like it, definitely check out James. His information's in the description. Be sure to check out the Clarinet Ninja Dojo. Great clarinet instruction. A wonderful clarinet community. It's there for you. The information's in the description, in the show notes. Click it, check it out. Come study clarinet with me.